Hey, what's up, phone lovers, and welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of July 31st, 2014. I'm Joe Fidua.
I am Christopher Chavez.
I'm Kevin Kraus.
Now, don't worry, listeners, you can't get germs over the internet because Chris is very sick this week.
I got
Oh,
the
I know
flu.
that by his voice.
I got the Tijuana Black Plague, or
Oh,
flu, whatever they call it.
Well, Tijuana mixed with Comic Con, that's a potent mixture.
It wasn't smart, man. I was like, what was I thinking? How did I think I
man,
wouldn't
I
get
know
sick?
you would be like the first guy like chugging, what's it called? What's that stuff? The vitamin C stuff.
Bleach?
I mean, I honestly was really upset because I forgot all my
Emergency,
vitamins.
yeah.
Yeah, when I travel, I always have this cocktail of like vitamin C, zinc, Maltese, and I had none of them, and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just be fine like everyone
Hey,
else.
but you know what? It's just a Comic-Con flu. This weekend here in Baltimore, it is BronyCon, so you don't want to catch that flu.
Oh,
Are you
God.
serious? There's a BronyCon? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
dude. BronyCon. And then next week is Otakon, so a lot of cosplay nerds in the area.
Is Rob gonna be there at BronyCon? Prancing around?
Maybe.
Have you seen any cosplayers roaming the streets of your neighborhood yet?
Not yet. They usually don't venture as far north. That's more south downtown. I'm a little out of the downtown area, but I certainly probably will see some this weekend. So I'm excited to. I'll probably. They usually have like a BronyCon bar crawl and stuff that we try to like go to a couple bars and stuff and check it out.
That's so
Oh,
funny.
that's hilarious. Well, I'm glad you're excited about that because something you weren't excited about this week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Amazon Fire Phone.
The best Android phone on the market.
Uh, you know,
Hands down.
the Fire Phone, when we saw it announced, I didn't. Maybe I was going in a little bit biased. I didn't have high hopes for it, but I got this phone to review, to check out the Fire Phone. Of course, this is based on Android. Um, I have a tough time calling it an Android device, even though it does run Android apps from the Amazon App Store. But I don't know. I just walked away thinking this thing probably should have never been released. It seems so. It just seems half baked. Like it wasn't finished. Like no, they just settled on every aspect. They're like, okay, the 720p display, yeah, that's good enough. The Snapdragon 800 processor, that's good enough. You know, and so many aspects. The hardware was pretty disappointing, but my biggest issue with it was the software, and it's not because it's not traditional Android and I wasn't familiar with it really. It was more, it just doesn't make sense. It's got this home screen carousel that you can't really kind of mess with on your own, but it does this thing where like the most recent app you open, it throws it into your home screen carousel. So everything on that carousel keeps changing places. So like you go into an app and you're like, all right, I want to jump back and look at this other thing, and then you go back to the carousel and it's not there or it's a different place. It gets really confusing really quick, and it seems really limited. It's not very intuitive. There's just these like side menus that sometimes they pop out with the dynamic perspective thing, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes you can swipe for them. It very strange setup. Definitely a steep learning curve if you're coming from Android or even iOS. I mean, probably especially iOS. It's a tough device to get into, but I just don't see how even spending a lot of time with it, you would become super familiar with it and feel very comfortable in that interface. So that was kind of my takeaway on the software.
Do you feel like the software? I mean, I kind of feel like they make that launcher like that, how it changes what you're using and stuff, so it's real easy for like beginners and stuff. Do you feel like it would be easier for them, or do you think it's so confusing?
I mean, maybe if you never had used a smartphone before in your life, and this was your first experience, it would kind of make sense and work, but it just doesn't seem very intuitive for people that are used to a standard home screen setup. I mean, Android, you have your shortcuts and your widgets even, and then iOS, obviously, you only have your shortcuts to your apps and everything. But with the Amazon home screen as it is, it's just, just these kind of carousel actions and menu items that kind of extend down below them, for like the Firefly, which was actually pretty cool. I liked the Firefly feature. It definitely is pushing you towards buying stuff off Amazon, but it works really fast. You just push the button and you can point it right at. I pointed at some books, album covers, just products, not whatnot, and
Did you actually buy anything? Did it make you buy?
No, I didn't buy anything with it. I was very careful not to. I was just that's the one thing about it. I was very, nervous navigating around the whole thing because I have my Amazon Prime account linked up to it, and I'm just like, I feel like, I might tap something and accidentally buy something. Like I want to be really careful, make sure like, because there's so many things like, oh, buy it on Amazon. It's just, yeah. But the Firefly was cool. That's actually what was interesting to me is while I do see those things as kind of gimmicky, Firefly and the dynamic perspective, which is the 3D, they were actually two of the cooler things about the phone. I don't see much use for either of them necessarily being like a killer reason to go buy the phone, but the Firefly worked really well, like I said, and it was pretty cool for identifying songs and movies and stuff like that. And then we got a dog in here. And then the dynamic perspective was also cool, but it wasn't as responsive, especially for like the tilt the phone to scroll. That wasn't super responsive. You had to like really exaggerate the tilting action, and the 3D in general didn't add too much to the experience. It looked cool, but I feel like it contributed a lot to the really poor battery life of the device, like dreadful battery life.
Really?
Yeah. Because you got 4 cameras like monitoring your face like the whole time you're using the phone. That's gotta be like a big part of it.
They would have figured out a way to kind of optimize it and not drain battery life so much.
Well, I had the when I first got the phone, I turned it on, played around with it a little bit, and it had a pretty full charge out of the box. And then I sat it down and didn't pick it up for like another day because I was busy, hadn't really got around to really looking at it for the review. And I went and picked it up for just like a day of standby time. The battery was completely dead. I had barely touched the device. It wasn't my accounts weren't even all set up, so it wasn't syncing messages, wasn't doing all this stuff. The battery life was just, it was just bad.
That's crazy. I mean, that's like if you can't get battery life in this day and age. What is it, 2014?
Yeah, and it's a 2400 milliamp hour battery, which you would expect to be at least pretty solid day of use out of that.
Yeah.
But somehow that turns into not even a day of standby. So, the battery was definitely pretty disappointing. I felt more disappointments about the phone than, God, and this is one of the only devices I've ever really reviewed that has made me like frustrated and angry. And I generally try to be pretty, pretty nice and try to and look at the bright side of things. But this one it was hard to do. So. I don't really recommend it.
My dog doesn't like when strange people come into the house.
Oh, the cable guy's there? Yeah.
Or he doesn't like the Amazon Fire Phone.
That too. So did you buy something when you had the Fire Phone from Amazon? Maybe you talked about that while I was gone.
Chris did ask. I didn't, but I was saying that I often felt very nervous about going around the interface and accidentally buying stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Joe again. End up killing his dog.
Yeah. Well, I guess the big question here, and this is kind of a debate that we've been having, is in the review that I posted on Phandroid.com, which you can check out if you haven't checked it out already. I make my opinion pretty clear that I wouldn't outright consider the Amazon Fire Phone a true Android phone. I feel like if you're an Android user looking for a new Android smartphone, you really have no reason to check out the Fire Phone because you're just going to be, what is this? It doesn't have Google Play. It doesn't have Google services. So that was kind of the one takeaway. If you're looking for an Android device, probably not for you. If you're looking for a phone that's different, something new, a fresh operating system, it's possibly something you'd want to check out. But I still think it seems like a first attempt. And for something that they've supposedly been working on for a long time, it doesn't really seem as fully formed. It seems like it could have spent some more time in development.
Yeah. I feel like if this was like a 2013 thing, the phone would have been like doing okay with like the Galaxy S4s and all that, maybe even like a year before that. So it has been like a long time in the making, and it kind of feels like that, like it's just been delayed or like there was issues holding it up, and it's just like, oh look, this is our cool new phone. It's got these weird new features. Like, yeah, those would have been cool maybe like 2 years ago, but like today, no, we need a better battery. We need
And it also would have been cool if it was like other Amazon hardware, if they sold it at a discount, if they sold it at a loss, or if they sold it with special offers or whatever. But this is a phone that costs $650 outright. or you can get it for the normal $200 on contract price with AT&T. But I mean, you could get any other number of Android phones for $200 that are much better than what I would consider the Fire phone. So,
Did you guys talk about whether or not it's actually an Android phone?
briefly,
Briefly,
yeah.
Kevin made his
Okay, 'cause,
opinion
I
known.
mean, I think that's kind of the interesting part about this device. Is it an Android phone? And first and foremost, yes, it runs Android operating system in some form, so it's technically an Android phone. But I think if you want to, I don't know how to say it. I guess maybe the soul of the device is not an Android phone, really, because like when you say the word Android, you have certain expectations, and this device does not have those things.
Yeah.
So while it technically runs Android, I mean, even Amazon does not call this an Android phone, and that is for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it. I mean, granted, we have had certain. It's not as much of a thing anymore because I think Google has done a lot to address this issue. But especially a couple years ago, there were a lot of those kind of unlicensed Chinese Android phones or like very low mid-tier entry-level Android phones that didn't have access to Google Play, that weren't officially supported by Google services because they didn't buy into whatever that aspect of it. Google's done a lot recently to kind of correct that. So nowadays, you get a phone that's an Android phone, and even if it's a cheap phone from a sort of no-name manufacturer, you're most likely you're going to be able to get Google Play or
Yeah.
Google
I
services
mean,
on there.
if you don't, people like not even Google considers that. Like they don't even include that on their active installs and all that. It's got to have at least the Google Play Store by a
Yeah.
minimum, and it's like,
And the other thing with the Fire phone is this phone runs what they call Fire OS, and this was forked off of Android a few versions ago. It's not like they're keeping it up to date with the recent, Android branches. They've taken Android and ran with it, and it's kind of turning into its own thing. I mean, it's not like this. It's not like you're gonna be like, oh, when is this phone gonna get the KitKat
yeah.
update, or when is this phone gonna get that
Right.
up? It's
So I can get X feature and it can do this. It's completely different. It's its own version. It's a weird redheaded stepchild bastardized version of Android. It's not.
yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting debate. I mean, it kind of is almost philosophical. Like, when is it stop being an Android phone, even if it's
When
based on Android? So
does an Android phone?
I know when is it an Android phone? And so yes, technically it does run Android apps out of the box. Gets its apps from the Amazon Android App Store and their Android APKs. But I mean, I don't know if that, for me, that's almost not enough to qualify it for, because we've seen BlackBerry put or Android apps on BlackBerry devices in one way or another. So I don't know if that's enough to qualify it as an Android phone per se. But it runs Android, so I mean, it's a fine line.
Technically,
It's like
technically,
Yeah.
it's an Android.
And I think a lot of Android fans would agree that it's not an Android phone and they don't want any part of it. That's what a lot of people said in the comments of your review, and I've seen that all across the internet. People calling it kind of the anti-Android phone and things like that. So
Yeah,
it's not a real popular device among Android fans either.
yeah,
maybe on Amazon it'll do well, but not.
maybe. I think Amazon, what I see, like with the Kindle line and with the now the Fire phone, they kind of saw an opportunity that they could get in on an open source operating system for free, turn it so they didn't have to do the groundwork development. They could kind of start with it already a solid base of like what makes a smartphone or a tablet function, and then they could kind of make it what they want it to. So I'd say it's born from Android, but it's, again, they're not, they even Amazon, I don't think, is like going through great lengths to try to tell you this is an Android device. They kind of bury that in their marketing materials.
Yeah, you're not gonna find that cool Android boot screen, that new one where it's like Android.
Right.
Not gonna happen.
All right. Well, let's move on from the Fire phone and move on to something more strictly Android related, which most people will be able to agree that it is an Android phone, and that is the rumored Moto Nexus, which I guess could be replacing the Silver program, or I don't
I think
fully
did the Silver
understand
program
all
ever
this, or
really-
something with
There-
Shamu and all. I don't know. What's
There's a
going on,
lot
Chris?
of rumor, a lot of speculation. The folks at the Information, they actually this is like the a new website that was started up by these ex people that worked at Wall Street Journal and all these other big tech sites. They made their own little site where you have to pay to view their stuff. It's like a subscription type deal. But they have it so like when they get these leaks and rumors, they people try to listen up.
I
But
mean,
they
if
have it
you're
on
paying for them, they better be pretty legit.
exactly,
Right.
and it's pretty expensive. I think it's like $50 a month.
Bless you.
Thank you. So they have it on good authority that Motorola is working on a new Nexus device, and it's going to be, I guess, the size of the display is still up in the air at this point, but given that, I mean, you guys remember there was tons of rumors way back, it's been dating back a couple months now, about this Android Silver program, and what Android Silver was supposed to do was was never really said to replace the Nexus line. I'm sure there will always have been a Nexus phone because it's like Google's developer phone. They need some way to show everybody this is what Android is, and Google kind of stated this like in the past as well. But Android Silver was supposed to be a way for it's just like the Google Play Edition devices, but these would be offered on carriers, so you can get them on subsidized, get them on a contract, and they won't be these $700 phones that nobody bought. I mean, Google's never released official numbers, but I would say they probably only sold a handful of any Google Play Edition device. I've gone on Craigslist looking for them. I mean, I've checked out my entire area online. Like nobody ever has a Google Play Edition device because $700. No one's going to pay $700 for a smartphone. They'll just go to the carrier and get $200,
Yeah.
put it on Next, put it on payments, 18
Well, I
month
think the Google
payments.
Play Edition is kind of. I think what happens with that is like the manufacturer, they realize they're already going to sell X number of the regular version of this phone, so they're just like, whatever, we'll take a few off the production line, throw stock Android on it, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like they're not really expecting it to be a huge business, but I agree. Like I don't think it's a big business for them, right?
Not at all, not at all. So, I mean, I guess the way Google was probably positioning it's that, how about we offer these on carriers and call them Android Silver, stock Android, you'll probably see a lot more sales and yada, yada, yada. It'll be great. Everyone will want to be a part of the Android Silver program. But apparently that is kind of hanging in the balance, so to speak. The guy, I forget his name, something, it was their chief, I gotta look it up, but the guy responsible for heading that program, the Android Silver thing, is leaving. I think on the last earnings call, Google, what was it? They announced that guy was going to be leaving. He was going to be joining up with, I believe it's SoftBank. So that was kind of like, well, holy crap, what's going to happen to Android Silver? So it's still a little bit uncertain, but they're saying that it's just going to be completely scrapped now, and now Google's going to be going forward with this Moto Nexus, which previous rumors stated that it was going to be 5.9 inches, which fits perfectly because the Nexus 5 was 5 inches or close to 5 inches. It was like what, 4.97 inches or something. So you round it up 5 inches. So this new Moto Nexus 5.9 inches will be the Nexus 6. So they get to keep that
Right.
the numbers rolling.
That's friggin' big.
And
That's
it's
a big phone.
freaking huge. So a lot of people, and I guess the code name is Shamu, and we've seen it pop up like in some.
Which isn't even like that's like not even that's like flat out kind of making fun of how big it is. It's like it's as big as a whale.
It's like
Yeah.
they know it's going to be flipping huge, and I'm trying to think like, well, how big is the Galaxy Note 3's 5.5 inches, which is pretty ridiculous, and you're going bigger than that. I mean, like who?
There better be like zero bezel.
Is there? Yeah, it's gotta at least either be. Well, even the Galaxy Note 3 has the super small bezels. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking while they're doing it, but I mean, I guess they're just trying to attack every form factor, attack every size, every year.
Well, if
The
they
phone
come
gets
out
a
with
bit
like a
bigger.
Nexus 6, is there a potential that they would still release like a new Nexus 5 or a smaller
That's
Nexus? Or they
what
just gonna,
I'm. That's what I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping for. Just I mean, there's really not much you can do to a Nexus 5 right now. I mean, maybe include a little bit more internal storage. Maybe update the processor to like a Snapdragon 805, which is I think due out later this year. Just small things like that. But like already the Nexus 5, I mean, I pick up the phone every now and again and play with it. I'm just like, holy crap, this thing's fast. It's got a good camera. I mean, everything's pretty solid on it. 1080p display. There's really not much you can do to improve it.
You could improve the camera a lot.
Yeah, maybe throw some sensors in there. Extra sensors.
yeah, dude, you
Put
could put
four
cameras.
infrared cameras in the front. But even then, I mean, it's just it would just be an update, I guess, and maybe they could redesign the body style, make the speakers a little bit better, front-facing speaker. Who knows? Anything, I guess. But so hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers. It'll still be a 5-inch phone, but yeah, I guess the rumors are pointing to a Motorola-made 5.9-inch phablet
It's crazy.
Nexus.
I mean, what I think's interesting is the fact that it's not they owned Motorola for a while and they didn't even bother to make a Motorola Nexus, and now they're getting rid of Motorola, and that's when they're going to come back and be like, oh, let's do like a Motorola Nexus phone.
Well, I think the problem was that they couldn't show like preferential treatment or
Yeah.
whatever because they were part of their company. They bought them. It was a Google company. So in order to not make all the other partners upset, they were just like, we'll just put this on hold. I mean, perhaps they were working on it the whole time, and now that they sold them, they were just like, yes, now we can go through with this. Who knows? But pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's a big phone. I don't know. I still don't like the big phone trend. I've never liked it.
I can't. I mean, I can't do it, man. Even like I just got what is it? Xperia Z2. And this thing's got like a 5.2-inch display or something ridiculous. I can't even. Like this is pushing my limits. Like honestly, like there are times when I have all these phones laid out in front of me, and I'm like, who should I just grab, pick up the phone, and walk around and eat like a sandwich and message people? And I'm like, I always go for the iPhone just because it's so easy to hold in one hand, and I can just text people and do whatever. It's yeah.
See, that's
I
the
like the
one thing
smaller
I'll
phones.
give the Amazon Fire Phone interface is it's designed really well to be like a one-handed OS. It's very easy to operate with one hand. Everything's easy to swipe out with your thumb and navigate, for better or worse. I mean, but and the size works. I mean, it's only a 4.7-inch screen, but it is a very good OS for navigating with just a thumb. But I don't know. I can't get into those big screens. I mean, even rumors that there'll be a 5.5-inch iPhone, that blows my mind. That just seems like a giant phone.
Yeah, phablet. Those. I mean, people like them. People like the phablets. So, like, I guess the whole one-handed use thing, a lot of people don't really care about. They don't mind having to use two hands all the time.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna have to start like carrying around a fanny pack to like carry my phone, like I don't know if I want to.
Or
Hey
buy a
man, no one's forcing you
smaller
to buy it.
phone.
Well, when they don't give you
Vote
like
with your wallet.
Yeah, I guess
Whatever
that's
they
true.
say.
But yeah, like Kevin was saying, like if they don't give you an option for a smaller phone, then that's pretty
yeah, if you
pretty
want the new
lame.
Nexus phone and the only new Nexus phone is
It's gonna
5.9 inches in size, then like you
Right.
don't have a choice.
yeah,
You
you're
know?
kind of screwed.
All right. So let's move on. Chris, you were just talking about your Sony Xperia. So the Z3 is headed to T-Mobile. That's pretty cool.
It's
You have the.
rumored.
Which one do you have?
I have the Z2.
Okay. What's the
And
difference between the Z2 and Z3?
the Z2
Z3.
and Z3, there's absolutely no difference. I
So
mean,
there's a
it's
3 in the name.
it's no, they redesigned it slightly. So I guess the side on the Z2 and the Z1 before it, it's like glass back, glass front, and they have this metal band that wraps around it with some plastic in there as well. The new Z3, it's just completely round. It's not so chiseled. So they kind of redesigned it a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of what Sony does. Every 6 months they release, a very small upgrade to like their previous one. And before the Z2, there was a Z1S, which was pretty darn close in specs to the Z2, this one here. So the Z3, I mean, really, there's not going to be too much of an upgrade, but
Well, they haven't
I guess
officially announced it yet, right?
they haven't officially announced it. I guess it's just rumored right now that it should be headed to T-Mobile once they do announce it, and it's expected to be announced at IFA 2014 in next month or September, actually. So we'll have to wait and see.
Uh, this next topic we've talked a lot about in the past, actually. Devices catching on fire, and the Galaxy S4, someone's caught on fire again, and it's because of the third-party accessories. We keep telling everybody stop using those things.
I mean, I
When are you
guess
gonna listen?
I think all of like our readers know, and people that are kind of techie-ish know, like you're kind of running some sort of risk when you buy those cheap, like $5 batteries off of eBay.
Yeah,
Come
or if
back.
you get like the thing, it's like the cart in the mall where it's just like, oh, phone chargers.
Oh yeah, just four phone chargers for $1. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have this level of like we know, like okay, that's cheap. It's probably not the best thing to put into my $700 smartphone, but other people just see it as, hey man, this is America. I'm sure there's some sort of regulations for this stuff. shove it in their phone, and the whole thing lights on fire, and then they get upset later. So it's like, um, it's funny. But I guess some dude's Galaxy S4 caught fire, but apparently it wasn't a third-party accessory. It wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just a faulty unit. So after waiting for months and months to hear something from Samsung, who never followed up, they kind of, were saying, "Oh yeah, we'll look into it and we'll get you a replacement unit." But he kept trying to follow up with them, and they never got back to him. He posted it on Reddit, and the HTC's product manager person showed up and was just like, "Hey, you know what? Send us that crappy Galaxy S4, and we'll give you an HTC One M8." And the guy's like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome!"
Oh my god.
So he was
Was
flipping
this
out.
two different stories?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
two different devices burn up?
Yeah, and then there was another story. A local news station posted this teenage girl, had I can't remember if it was a charger or the battery. That was a third party, cheap one, whatever. She put it in her Galaxy S4, and like all youngins do late at night, she's texting, doing whatever, shoves the charging phone under her pillow, goes to bed. She's waking up in the middle of the night because she smells something burning. I was like, that smells really weird. There's like some plasticky burning smell. Oh well, goes back to bed, wakes up in the morning to find that like her whole pillow, her mattress, everything's been charred. There's like a fire. Her phone has been completely melted into this puddle of just like ash and glass. It's just so ridiculous. But
She slept through it.
and she, yeah, she's a heavy sleeper. But her dad, is putting the blame on Samsung, saying there should be warning labels. Like, if your phone can catch fire like this, there should be a warning label on it, just like cigarettes, like a big ol' skull and crossbones on the box. Like, but Samsung, even though they know that it's a third-party, incompatibility thing or whatever issues, they still said they're going to replace the phone. They're going to replace her bedding, her pillow, all that stuff. So
That's good. I remember when the only thing we had to worry about was getting brain cancer from using our phones.
my how times have changed.
Yeah, now we got to worry about, everything catching on fire.
Okay, so Gear 3
The Gear
could be
3.
round.
It could be round.
I'll believe it when I see it.
But it's not going to be like Android Wear round, so it's nothing like a Moto 360. It's, Tizen. So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, is that an Android device?
Now that we can officially say is not an Android device, 100%, no matter how you want to explain it.
But it works with Android devices, and it's supposed to be, I guess, launching in the fall. I would imagine alongside the Note 4. Is that what's coming up? The Galaxy Note 4.
I believe so.
Um,
I mean, the gear Samsung making an actually cool like round device to me is as likely as them making an awesome metal device. I don't know. It would be really smart though. I mean, like anyone paying attention to the Android world right now should see all the hype for the Moto 360 and be like, "Hey, maybe we should make a round smartwatch."
Yeah, well, round is cool because it's like we don't see a lot of electronic devices with interactive screens that are round because everything has been so rectangular and square for the past, 50 years of, TVs, smartphones, tablets, computers, monitors. Everything has been rectangular. The operating systems are all based on Windows, rectangular Windows. So, this is it is kind of like a game changer in terms of that.
On a round TV.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the next thing. Round
No,
TVs.
because all these 16:9 like applications will mean absolutely nothing. Then you'll just have like the worst black bars at the top and the bottom because you have to squeeze it down into like the center of your round TV.
Yeah, it'd be like the actual movie would be like an inch tall, just right across the middle. The rest of the space would be used for ads, though. The future.
Oh.
Yeah.
Google Fiber.
And all your interactive apps.
Okay, and this is just this story. BBM is officially available on Windows Phone, and I think it says a lot about how bad BlackBerry's doing that they're releasing Windows Phone apps.
Oh.
I mean, they were considered to be like neck
Nobody
and neck
releases
for third
Windows.
place for a long time, and I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, they brought that app to Android and iOS, so like I understand they probably want to be on all platforms to try to become like the ubiquitous cross-platform messaging service, but I think BBM's day is just done. I don't know if people are
Yeah.
getting into it anymore.
You know what? I might use BBM. I mean, I've been looking for something other than Hangouts because I have a friend who has a really old Android phone and it's still using Google Talk. And he's right there. But we're always looking for different messaging apps because you can't use that one, and like Kick is horrible, and you have WhatsApp, but then you got to use your phone number, which I don't. I use my Google Voice number, so all this weirdness. But we've been
I
looking
mean,
for.
the amount of messaging apps to choose from before you would go to BBM is like
You know what? I smell another featured article coming on the top best instant messaging apps.
why
Seven,
I'm using BBM.
seven
That should be
top.
your
Oh
article.
gosh,
That would be crazy.
you gotta be nuts.
Yeah, just like one sentence. I'm crazy. All right. You guys put this on the list. I wasn't anticipating talking about this, but I did write an article this week. Yeah, it was that this week?
I believe it
Gosh,
was this week. Yeah.
feels forever ago. 8 things I miss about Windows Phone,
What's your
and
top
that.
one? Like, what is the one you miss the most?
So actually, the thing I had number one. Gosh, I forgot what number one was now.
Don't miss
Well,
The
it that
one.
I
much.
remember one of the good ones that I liked, which was
What?
all of the non-official official apps.
That was. Yep, that was number one. Yeah. Yeah, I really like. I mean, if anyone doesn't use Windows Phone, so like since there's not many high-end official apps on Windows Phone, for example, Instagram took forever to show up. People just take it upon themselves to make those apps, and I like that a lot because a lot of times those apps are way better than the official apps, and since apps are available on Android like immediately, there's really no need for a developer to ever go and make their own. So you don't get a lot of options. If you want to use Instagram on Android, you just use the official app, and that's
Yeah.
that.
Well, don't forget there was a day when there was not an official Instagram app for Android for a long
Yep.
time.
I mean, and it's possible people can do it because there's a guy actually. Funny how we bring this up, but um, he released a concept video for a material designed
Dude,
Instagram
I
app for
saw that.
Android,
Yeah.
and I was just like going nuts watching it in the dark, just like breathing heavily. Beautiful, beautiful app, and apparently he's kind of someone's making it happen. It was like the next day someone released on Reddit. I guess he opened up some community on Google Plus or something, but some dude is trying to make that actually happen, and I'm like, man, that'd be so cool. There's so many apps that I think could be so much better looking if they just were completely redesigned. And Instagram's not doing it because, of course, they want to keep all of their apps and services looking uniform and the same regardless of platform. But it would just be cool to see some other developer just make these third-party
Yeah.
applications.
Yeah.
I would love it.
I do remember like the longest time when Android's Facebook app was just like a
Oh
basically
yeah.
a browser that pulled the mobile web, and it was terrible. But there were decent third-party Facebook apps at that time that
Yeah, there were.
they probably still a few of them probably exist. I'm not sure, but that used to be like the only way to do it would to be get the third-party app because the first-party app was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. That,
Um, a couple other things on this list just to highlight that I miss. Um, I put customization on here, and I knew right away people would be like, "What?" Because yeah, obviously you can't customize a Windows Phone device more than an Android device. You can't customize anything more than you can on an Android device. But I really like the way Windows Phone does it, where you pick a background color and an accent color, and then that is used. Those options are used by like every app you use. Just like you can download some third-party Twitter app and it will tie into that, and then everything in the OS kind of shows the colors that you chose. It's really cool. You can just by changing a couple different colors, you can change how the entire OS looks, which is pretty neat.
yeah.
I
It
put
sounds so easy, so simple.
Yeah,
Something that Android should be able to do. but they've never had like a theming thing ever.
I put battery saver mode on here, but that's going to be coming in Android L, which is cool.
Yep.
And then I guess the last thing I'll mention is hardware camera buttons need to make a comeback.
Oh, I love it on the Z2, man. Z2's got it.
Oh, dude, that's
I
awesome.
love it. It's so much fun.
Is it it's a two, what do you call it? Two stage or two step?
Yeah, so you push it once and it'll focus, and then push it all the way down and it'll snap the shot.
Nice. That is a thing of beauty, and I miss that so much.
Get an Amazon Fire phone. It has one.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah. It's the camera key / Firefly key.
They have a
Oh,
shutter
boy.
button for every camera.
No.
Five shutter buttons all
I actually
around.
wish that you could see what the infrared cameras looked like when they were filming your face. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like why can't you take a 3D photo of your face?
Oh, yeah, they
I don't know.
could.
Be
I mean,
cool.
Amazon has it. Why can't you have it?
I know.
Seriously, they know. They know
They
what they're
know.
seeing.
Man, in the week that I used the Amazon phone, they probably got so much personal information on me, like what I look like and where I am.
You're going to be seeing some like really specific targeted ads.
Oh, yeah.
I bet
Every
my
time I
ads
visit
for like
Amazon.
razors and stuff are gonna increase because of my beard.
It's like, wait, how did you even know that was my brand of razors? All right, so let's move on to our wins and fails. Kevin, kick it off.
This I thought was pretty cool. My win of the week. The FCC has taken a stand. They've issued like a letter against these efforts by Verizon to throttle customers that are still managing to hold on to their unlimited data. Verizon, on one hand, was finally like, oh, this is getting like, that's enough. All these grandfathered people are, using too much data. We're going to start throttling them because they have unlimited. And the FCC said, wait a minute, Verizon, that's just like, that's not cool. You shouldn't do that. I don't think they took any actual legal steps against them, but they definitely reprimanded them for even thinking about doing that. So, you know what? The FCC, they can be good, they can be bad, but in this case, I think that they are on the side of the good guys, the side of the people, sticking it to the man. My fail of the week, I wanted to say Amazon Fire Phone, but I feel like I've beaten that horse. So this actually got this notification on my phone, and then I saw the news stories all over the web popping up about Facebook is finally, we've heard about this for a while, but Facebook is finally initiating the migration to the standalone messaging app. You aren't going to be able, I guess as of this week, you're not going to be able to get messages if you only have the Facebook app on your phone anymore. You're going to have to get a second Facebook app, the Facebook Messenger, which I don't have on my phone and don't plan on having on my phone. So I think that's a pretty big fail. I don't understand why they can't just have a limited version of Messenger in the regular app for people that don't want to be completely on a separate messaging platform.
I still don't think that's a big deal, but that's probably because I actually use the Facebook Messenger app and I really like it. So I guess I could see why someone wouldn't want to download it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would. I don't use messaging enough to warrant downloading. It's just that every once in a while, I get one or two messages a month. Maybe not a month. I'll get a couple Facebook messages a week, but I don't get enough Facebook messages to warrant me downloading Facebook Messenger necessarily. And that's the whole thing they're trying to do, is they're trying to drive you into Messenger. They say it's because it has better features as a standalone app, and maybe that is true.
It really is a good
But
app.
It's a
But
damn good app.
but I mean, the bigger part of it is also they get that these people like me won't use messaging a little bit. Now that if we have to download the Messenger app, they're hoping that we'll start using it more, and it'll become a bigger platform. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand against it. I'm boycotting Facebook Messenger.
Okay, that actually goes really well into my win of the week, actually, and that is so when I was writing this Windows Phone article, I went back and I was using my old phone for a little while, and something I noticed is that the Facebook beta app for Windows Phone is a million times better than the Android app for Facebook. It is like night and day. It has a completely different UI. The UI looks a lot more like Facebook Messenger does, which is, like Chris said, an
Oh.
awesome app. And yeah, I really want the Android app to get that makeover because it's nice. I was like really impressed. And usually that's not the case on Windows Phone. Usually the apps are not as nice, but
Why do you think that is? Do you think that it's better just because it's more newly developed, like from the ground up, or does Windows Phone make it easier for app developers to make? Is it use like special Windows Phone features or design or
No,
anything?
it really doesn't. It's just it looks nicer, and it is the beta, so it has, a little bit more advanced features than the normal Windows Phone app. But I mean, I'm a member of the Facebook beta for Android too, and that app doesn't look anything like it. So I don't know. They should make the Android one look like that.
I agree. It's time to spiff it up. I mean, they kind of did the Holo YOLO thing a little while back, but it still doesn't match with Messenger. Messenger is like a completely different look,
Yeah.
and I love the way Messenger looks.
I mean, the Facebook app for Android is just so annoying to use
Yeah.
because they moved the most recent option. They like buried it in the settings.
Yeah, that's the same way with iOS, like, and that bothers me. Like that I
Every
can't.
time you want to check your newsfeed, you got to go and over there and tap most recent. It's Oh my God, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Oh, they actually have a most recent. Figured they got rid of it completely.
No, like you you open it up and then there's on the very right side there's that little the three horizontal lines. You tap that and then you scroll down to most recent and then you see like a secondary newsfeed basically. But it's not the default, so it's really annoying.
3 lines. Oh, I see chat. I see other weird stuff. I don't know what's happening.
Do you see it?
No, I don't see it.
Should be right under like your pages.
Friends,
Yeah,
goodbye
it's definitely
friends.
buried in there. It's in under feeds.
Oh, most
Yeah.
recent. There it is. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
Yeah,
This
isn't
whole
that
time.
insane?
Why? Like, why do that? I don't get that. Why? Well, what are they trying to hide? Why are they trying to keep people from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They want you to see their curated news feed.
Oh, I get it. And their ads and what has been popular and
But I mean, you still see ads in the most recent, so it really doesn't make sense. I don't know. My fail of the week is OnePlus. A rumor popped up that they're working on a watch now,
Ooh.
and it's
Man,
round. But my fail is just like, okay, this company has shown that they're not great about shipping products. And now, who's going to line up to sign up for another product from them? They haven't really built a lot of trust, I guess. And to go and start making a new device already, I don't know how many people are going to be wanting this.
no. I feel like everyone's fed up and no one's gonna want to sit around waiting for that smartwatch. They'll just be like, you know what? I'll just get a different. I'll get the 360 or the da 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 da. Unless it has some ridiculous price point that it's gonna make everyone jump on it, but I doubt it.
All right, you're up, Chris.
Oh, okay. So my win for the week is going to be the Sony Xperia Z2 that I bought a little while ago. I think I received it last Thursday, and I might have mentioned it on last week's podcast, but the phone has been performing awesome, and I freaking love the camera. Like, I actually usually carry my iPhone in my pocket and an Android phone, and I usually bust out the iPhone when I want to take pictures or I want to play video games. Kind of like my photo taking, my little fun box. I call it the fun box. But with the Sony Xperia Z2, like the camera is so amazing, and I've seen stuff online where it's kind of mixed. It's so. In low light, it's not so hot, and then sometimes it does this and that and that. But I don't know if it's just. I mean, my version of the phone is running CyanogenMod, so maybe there's that. But um, it's been performing freaking amazingly awesome. It's wonderful, and I love it. But and battery life is absolutely insane. 3,100 milliamp hour battery. Like I don't even plug my phone in at night anymore. If I have 70% when I go to bed, I wake up and it's still at like 70%. No, it doesn't even die when it. I can't say enough good things about the phone. I love it. Some things I don't like are just like the front-facing speakers sound horrible, but that's probably due to the waterproofing. Whenever you waterproof speakers and do all that stuff, it completely kills the quality. And it sucks because they're front-facing, so you figure they're going to sound, at least remotely kind of good, but they're quiet, they're muffled, and I still miss my HTC One M8 in that regard. But that's going to be my win. And my fail is going to be Bolt, which is Instagram's recently launched photo messaging service. It's kind of like one part Snapchat, another part Tap Talk, which I think we mentioned before in the podcast. So it's kind of cool the way it works, and the stuff that it does is kind of unique-ish. It's a little bit different than Snapchat, but everyone is just trying to make that next Snapchat. But nobody can recreate that magic. I think once you get your user base there, it's just like it's really hard to pull anybody away from something where everyone's already using it. So it's like why would someone want to jump onto Bolt? But
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
and it's interesting. Bolt's kind of different too, because Snapchat you can take a video or picture and then you can broadcast it to everybody, all your friends. Where Bolt, you can only take one picture and send it to only one person, and then if you want to send another picture to someone else, you gotta take a whole new picture or a whole new video or something, and then that I don't know, kind of kills it because you gotta recreate moments. You gotta, I don't know, do all this silliness. So I think it's gonna fail. I don't think anyone's gonna use it, and the fact that it's only soft launching in a few countries right now kind of sucks. But yeah, that's my fail for the week.
I think it has potential because if you have a group of friends that don't use Snapchat a lot, you want
Yeah,
to send pictures to people, it could be pretty cool.
yeah.
I know personally more of my friends use Instagram than they do Snapchat, so
The thing is though, is you don't sign in with your Instagram or your Facebook account. You sign in with your phone number. So
really,
so there's that.
that is weird. I assumed it just worked with Instagram
Yeah,
contacts and stuff.
it's like an app from them, but it's not really linked to them. It's kind of its standalone thing.
They want
Well,
it to be
that's
its
a
own.
fail right there. I mean, they're
It's,
limiting themselves.
it makes no sense. And I mean, like Facebook has Messenger. They could literally bake those features of one tap, snap a picture, share it with someone. They could bake that into Messenger, and then Instagram has direct messaging. They could literally bake that into their direct messaging on Instagram. So it's just so ridiculous that everyone wants to create some sort of standalone app that
Yeah.
just is gonna kill Snapchat. It's frustrating and silly.
We got a question here from Lou Rod, and
Blue
someone
Rod?
else is gonna have to answer this because I
All
don't
right.
know.
What
What are
is
your thoughts on French telecom Iliad making a bid for T-Mobile for 15 million, or excuse me,
15
billion?
billion? Ooh, 15
What?
billion.
That's a pretty big bid. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, T-Mobile, that's Deutsche Telekom. They always said, they're always open to, hearing people's offers to buy T-Mobile and whatnot. Um, whether or not that will, I don't think SoftBank will let T-Mobile go without a fight at all.
Yeah.
I mean, SoftBank has so much freaking money, and they'll just, if there's a bidding war, SoftBank I think will come out on top.
I think the SoftBank Sprint thing is a more likely uh,
Yeah,
acquisition to happen. But hey, it could happen with French Telecom. I don't really know how that would shake up T-Mobile as much. I think that would probably be a little more straightforward in terms of what happens to T-Mobile in the U.S. at least.
yeah, I would love it. I mean, I would love if that were to happen and T-Mobile just stays T-Mobile, and Laguerre is still doing his crazy antics. But
Ledger.
Ledger. um, but with SoftBank, it does suck because if they do win out, which I think they probably will in the end, there's a likely Sprint T-Mobile merger. We don't know what's going to happen to T-Mobile and yada yada yada.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our app picks. Kevin, what do you got for us?
This week I have a new iOS app called Timeful. It is it's an interesting take on a calendar and to-do list app. Pretty much it works. You have two lists. You have your to-do list, and you have your actual calendar with your scheduled appointments and meetings and whatever other events you have scheduled in there. And the whole thing is so your to-do list, you enter your to-do list, and you kind of associate that with where do you need to be, like what is the location of this to-do item. So if and then same thing, you put like the locations and the times in your calendar for your actual scheduled stuff. And this app basically takes the gaps in your calendar based on where you're going to be and inserts the things on your to-do list and recommends times that would be best for completing the tasks that you still haven't scheduled. So it's kind of like a smart scheduling app. I don't really schedule a lot of my life. I kind of like to live more spontaneously. But this is actually
Quite the
something
life lesson there, Kevin.
this is something that I would be interested in checking out because I have been looking for a good to-do app, and this one looks like it could be just a simple to-do app with some calendar aspects, but I think that smart ability to kind of be like a scheduling assistant and kind of help you figure out where to plug in the things you need to do into the gaps in your schedule. So if you're particularly busy and you've got a lot to take care of, this could be helpful. I tend to be kind of, again, off the cuff, but it looks interesting. It's free. It's for iOS. And as far as the app itself looks really nice. I've played around with it a little bit, and it's got some cool habit tracking and things like that. So you can do like recurring events and things. So pretty nice. I think if you're looking for a good kind of solution for scheduling, this is something worth checking out if you're on iOS.
All right, so my app pick this week is going to be a game again, and this one is for Android and iOS. It's called FFFFF2P, which stands for free to play. And it's really funny because it mocks those free-to-play freemium games.
I get it.
So, like, the main gameplay is like there's this lady or princess or queen, something, dropping ads on you, and you have to avoid the ads and like jump on the ads to destroy them. And because it mocks these free-to-play games, there's obviously you can make some in-app purchases in it, but they're all kind of just mocky. Like there's literally an in-app purchase for $3 that just you win the game. Like you spend $3, you win the game. Like it's all very jokey and mocky, and it's really funny. I like it.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I didn't even know. Didn't even see it. But
it will soon be in my best games of July post. So.
2P. My app pick of the week is going to be an app called Cyberdust. It's a pretty unique messaging app. It's made by Mark Cuban, who I guess he owns a baseball team or something like that. I don't know.
Wait, what? He made an app?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like his.
Yeah, he owns the Dallas Mavericks, which is the NBA team, by the way.
Oh yeah. Whatever. That's the extent of my sports knowledge. But this is an app by his startup company that he has, and it's a messaging app. And what's cool about it is that it automatically deletes messages that you send to your friends. So if me and Joe are talking to each other, if I send him a message in 30 seconds, that message will self-destruct and just be completely deleted. And that's a little green circle on the side of your message, and it slowly shrinks, turns yellow, turns red, and then the message gets deleted after 30 seconds. The person, if you send a message to someone, that person has 24 hours to read it. But once it's read, it gets deleted in 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So there's no rush like, oh my God, did I just miss like 100 messages my friend sent me? No. But it's
so
pretty,
basically just the way Snapchat works.
Yeah, and then nothing. It's all encrypted. Nothing saved on any servers. So it's very Snapchat-ish, but with text messaging, and it's really cool. It has stickers and all this other fun stuff. Very simple, clean user interface. Only problem is that there is no group messaging, which is kind of what I wanted to use it for. When I've gotten in so much trouble, like the whole Tijuana trip, my girlfriend flipped out about because she read in my text messages or my Hangouts that the fun time that we were having. So I was like, man, I really should have. If Cyberdust just had a group chat, I would have been free and clear. But it's a very, very cool app, and you guys should try it out. But they did say they're going to add group messaging. They said sometime later this year. But that could be any time, so who knows when. But I'll be revisiting it once they do. So Cyberdust is my app pick for the week.
That actually reminds me, I guess I'll throw out a bonus app pick. An app that I found yesterday when I was doing my best apps for July posts called Digify, and it's kind of like Snapchat version of file sharing. So you can put you can make your like files self-destruct after a certain amount of time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It works with Dropbox, I think, too.
I'll throw in a bonus app pick as well, the Kardashian game.
Oh.
Have you seen any of those videos people are doing on YouTube where like they film themselves playing the Kardashian game?
No, I've not seen that, but I can believe it. People are in love with that.
Yeah,
BuzzFeed did one where they like a bunch of people that work at BuzzFeed. They just gave the game to them and just like filmed them trying to figure out and stuff, and it's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. The Kardashian.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that game in the Play Store for so long, and I was just like, "Isn't the title of the game just Kardashian?"
Yeah, I think
No, it's just Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, and if anyone's my friend on Google Plus, or you'll see a +1 for me on that game. I don't know why. I don't know how to take it off because I've never +1'd it before. But it'll say Chris Chavez +1's this game, and it's stupid. I've never done
Sure, you didn't.
Yeah,
I
right.
swear.
Chris can't wait to get out of this podcast so he can go play some
Gonna
more.
play some more Kardashian.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap things up for this week. Hopefully, Chris, you're feeling better next week.
Yeah.
You can get in touch with us and send Chris some well wishes and get well cards and all that good stuff. Our email is podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast, which goes up every Friday on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and it's in the Windows Phone Store. Pretty much anywhere else you can listen to podcasts, it's available. You can follow us individually on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.